Well, it was supposed to be the picture that would put to bed any speculation about the Princess of Wales, but we did about her health. But we did see her leaving Windsor Castle in the car with William, and she, as far as I could tell, she looked right, but we don't know. It's been pretty badly handled, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been horrendously handled. I mean, it looks like it's one of those situations, isn't it? They've tried to put this out in order to quell speculation,
and they've made it worse.
It's caused the complete opposite effect. My fear actually now is, what is it that Kensington Palace and the royal family are frightened of?
Well, that's the point.
What don't they want to tell us about the Princess of Wales that could be sufficiently dramatic or upsetting for the nation? We just hope she's OK.
And they're not going to. It seems pretty clear they're clearly not going to release the original photograph as it was. Although I suspect there were 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6. Look, Cameron Walker's with us. Cameron Walker, let's take the heat off of her. She's a woman who's struggling with her health. We don't know what's wrong with her, and she doesn't have to tell us. It's abdominal surgery, which is obviously complicated and difficult, and we don't know where she was going yesterday, maybe for more treatment. We don't know. But when she did this photograph, when she edited William's photograph, I can picture the scene. William, that's useless. I'm a much better photographer than you. Picture had to be of her because it was Mother's Day. You're useless. I'm going to edit it. Leave it to me. They then hand it over to Kensington Palace, which is a big, sophisticated operation. That's where it went wrong.
I think perhaps that could be right. I mean, many families up and down the country want the best version of their family as possible. The Mail reporting this morning that the photograph was taken on Friday in a 40-minute window, so several photographs were taken. Then the Princess photoshopped it into one image and then sent it to the Kensington Palace office. Have
they worked that out, Cameron, from the metadata of the image that it was taken on Friday? Because that's one of the big unanswered questions for me, is when was it actually taken? Was it last week, as the Palace said? The trees in the background made it look much more like it was much more summery.
So before all of this happened, I understand that it was very much taken last week. There was I think perhaps there was some debate whether or not they were going to put out a photo at all. But if anything, it would have asked more questions if they didn't, because the Princess always puts out a family photograph on Mother's Day. If she didn't, I think that just would have added to the speculation. So the photograph itself, of course, was meant to quash the speculation, and it's done the opposite effect. But you look at the GB News viewers' inbox this morning, and a vast majority of our viewers are saying we need to leave the Princess alone and cut her some slack. It was a very honest mistake. But the problem was when it got from Adelaide Cottage to Kensington Palace, and then there seemed to be a lack of checking when they knew the photograph was going to be heavily scrutinised, and then obviously all the agencies pulled it.
And look, it's a Sunday, and so I'm just saying perhaps, Cameron, there weren't as many staff there, or maybe it's because William and Kate are so controlling that they just said put it out immediately.
The thing is, for 10 years, they've been putting out their own family photographs. So ever since Prince George was born, it was Kate's father took the first family portrait of William, Catherine and a baby Prince George and their dog at the time. And since then, it has been intimate family members taking those photographs, which kind of works because you get these lovely photographs of the kids, and they're not bombarded with 20 cameras like Prince William and Harry had to go through when they were a child. But this image, I think, perhaps might draw some kind of line here, because clearly they knew it was going to be scrutinised. As I said, the whole point was to quash this speculation, and it calls into question the wider point, which is, should William and Catherine have quite so much control of the content they put out? Now, that's not for me to answer, but there are certainly commentators today questioning whether it's appropriate for them to take their own photographs and not have an independent, trusted news photographer there. I'm not talking about a bank of 30 photographers like we saw in the 80s with Charles, Diana and William, but just one.
Well, I can't see why they can't take their own photographs, and I can't see why they can't edit their own photographs. But if they do edit their own photographs, they've got to say so.
Well, perhaps, but then
the silence that went on, it was like some huge Watergate-style conspiracy. The kiln issues put out by those reputable agencies, 10 p.m. on Sunday. The apology from the Princess of Wales dropped during our programme yesterday about, 11 o'clock, 11:30? why did it take so long? They should have just got on with it and said it was a simple, innocent bit of bad editing.
The thing is, the celebrities for years have been editing photographs, and we don't complain about them. The royal family, way back to Tudor times, they were, editing the painting to make the monarch look better. So this isn't, the royals have form for editing photographs, but I think it was just the timing was so appalling yesterday because of all this speculation surrounding the Princess of Wales that it just added this fuel to the fire. Because we have seen photoshopping points of other images that the princess has done. So, for example, their Christmas card photograph, Prince Louis's finger was missing this year. But everyone just laughed it off and thought, it's a simple mistake, it's fine. But this time, of course, it's different.
The question, I suppose, is what could be wrong with her that they aren't letting us see her? That's the bit. And does she deserve the privacy of not having to disclose what the health condition is that she's struggling with?
And that speculation continues unabated now.
Yeah, so
not more so.
She is not the head of state. There's not a public interest, unlike the king, with knowing exactly what is wrong with the princess. She absolutely has the right to privacy. She has had abdominal surgery. She is recovering. Kensington Palace have always said we're not going to see her in public, carrying out public engagements until after Easter. As you say, Bev, there are lots of conspiracies online saying that the princess is perhaps slightly more ill than they're letting on. From my understanding, that's just simply not the case. She is recovering as expected. That photograph, or the several photographs which were morphed into one, was taken in the 40-minute window.
Even things like the choice of very tight jeans after abdominal surgery, as any woman will tell you, you are not minded to put on tight drain pipe jeans after abdominal surgery. And why no wedding ring on the hand on the picture? That seemed incredibly naive.
Yeah,
I think
and that was always going to be picked up so quickly because of the way the photograph was taken. We could see her hands, and that was the first thing I noticed. And I'm not a photographer, and I'm not expert.
Which plays into this speculation that there is trouble between the two of them, and she needed 6 months to go away and sort her head out. And frankly, who would blame her? She lives in the goldfish bowl that is a gilded cage, but is nevertheless a very stressful life.
From my understanding, we have to remember this ring. It used to be Princess Diana's. It's in priceless engagement ring and the wedding ring as well. I'm told that she doesn't actually wear it often around the house. She wears it out and about. And I think the most likely scenario is she just forgot to put it on for the photograph because it was all done in private and there was no press officer there being like, well, maybe you should wear your wedding ring for this photograph. So I think it was just a simple mistake. I don't think we need to read too much into the fact she wasn't wearing the wedding ring.
You see, and if it was just that, I've written a piece about this for the GB News website, by the way, gbnews.com. I went down the rabbit hole yesterday on Twitter of looking at the speculation of what could happen.
She's been transported to Mars.
I mean, it is hilarious, I have to say. Some of and the British public are very good at times like this. We have a very good dark humour in it, and some of the memes are very funny. But, the idea that maybe 3 children... you can't get 3 kids. I know, you can't get 3 kids at any given time to look down the lens of the camera and all smiling. She's probably, especially when one of them is Louis. And so she's probably gone, do you know what, just meld those pictures together. Although it wasn't taken on a phone, was it? It was taken on a camera.
Yeah, Canon cameras.
An old-fashioned Canon camera, which presumably she plugs into a computer and then they edit it.
And it was lit too. There was lighting.
It was a lit photo shoot.
Yeah, and obviously we've got Photoshop, and I'm sure the lighting was changed to make them look as good as possible. And as you say, 3 young children, or 10 or under, you're getting them all to look at the camera at the same time. One of them's messing up the other one. Then you are going to morph it all into one.
Just tell us that.
Yeah.
Just say any mum will know. Trying to get 3 kids to look at the camera, impossible. I fiddled with the picture.
Yeah, I think perhaps by staying silent and not releasing the original image, they are, creating more questions. But I think the time's passed. I think it's almost too late. If they were going to do that, they should have done it when they released the statement of Kate.
Yeah,
so
fascinating.
From Kate.
Do you think they have to now just return to plan A, which was you're not going to see her until after Christmas and just deal
Easter.
with it?
After Easter. Yeah, I think they'll very much be focused on their work and not thinking too much more about it.
Yeah, they want to move on from this.
All right, thanks, Cameron. And so do we.